can imagine the future that they're dreaming of, that they're manifesting in this music. I think it is the same future a lot of us are still driving for. It is an inherited dream that we haven't reached just yet.
Say how she loved us with every meal she ever prepared, and oh, how she cared. A black queen who could have been anything, but chose to love us, cook for us, and be with us. Be our queen, bead our hair, and hustle hard, a true warrior of sacrifice.
We begged to be equal. That's how they got us. Feigning equal opportunity as a scapegoat to hide true racism, saying everyone's the same, but I just have this preference. To hide the true intolerance, be intolerant of intolerance. We did not scream for less.
He became a vegan in his 20s. Black belts against black bodies leave marks unseen. Unseen sacrifice for red and brown flesh. Submission requires fear of something. Some things need nothing more than attrition. Trauma tricks hearts and extends to hands. And trauma-bound hands extend to black belts, seared flesh in a heavy bottom pot. She was a bottom-heavy vessel.
Flowers will bloom where my black body will lay. I could have shown you my beauty in so many other ways. But here I lie victim to systemic ties, and you pulled the trigger before you saw the tears in my eyes. Now I have vacant thoughts as life seeps from my pores. I wasn't even a threat to you, but look whose life mattered more? Yours.
The safety starts to taste like suffocation. And you wonder if you ever asked for this kind of protection in the first place. Double bagging holds you in place, manipulates you with its weight. You can't move without the crinkle of its grip reminding you that someone else has decided how much you need to be kept together.
And so, sis, you're copper, melanin pristine, head held high. Sis, you are a queen. That's right, our crown, it never falters, even when you feel lack. So what if your daddy wasn't around? Baby, his gift to you was that you're black, the birthplace of magic, and a womanhood so sacred. If you're looking for perfection, baby, just stare at your reflection naked.
Being black and beautiful always felt like it came with a warning label. Handle with grace, handle with patience, handle with care, and handle with love. I knew I was different when my mama either pulled out the rat tail comb or the hot comb like it was a weapon. A blade passed down for generations. She goes straight for the kitchen. Naps sizzling like bacon at the back of my head. Blue magic melting, fire my scalp raw. Heated tears baked behind my lashes.
Hello, and welcome to the American School of Storytelling. My name is Lauren Nene, and with my partner Christine in the back, we are the founders of the American School, which is committed to the, I love this phrase, oral narrative arts. Storytelling, poetry, spoken word, singer-songwriters, periodically comedy, although we import that, I don't do that. And then for reasons that are inexplicable to me, 3 or 4 times a year, flamenco on this stage, which always makes me nervous when they start going up into the lights. But we do online and in-person classes and performances. This is a performance where we get to welcome Cracked Walnut. With that, I will get off the stage and turn it over to your delightful host.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is Cracked Walnut's poetry event. We have an annual festival that we do every year, and so across Minnesota, there's a bunch of poetry events happening, and this is one of them. So this is Voices Cracked Open Before I Lied, and it's based on the theme of my debut poetry book here. So this book is all about truth-telling, refusing to be silent even when truth is heavy, risky, or inconvenient. And that's exactly what this showcase is about. And that's the poets today that are going to be performing are courageous and they're going to be telling their truth today on stage. So our first performer is Folasade. She is a blooming, neo-quirky, gender poet, curator, and organizer. Their practice is rooted in an ongoing self-study and co-creative process with their ancestors aligned with the spiritual practice. They are currently focused on projects that include intuitive and prose poetry, speculative storytelling, and unearth and give shape to Black trendsetters. Folasade has self-published a poetry chapbook titled Bodies Are Deep Wells, as well as several poetry zines. She has additionally published Writing with St. Paul Almanac, Blue Earth Review, The Kitchen, Hair Plus Nails, and the Minnesota Printing Press. Please welcome Folasade.
Hello. Cool, how's everybody doing? I'm reading, well, I'm gonna read 3 poems that I've never read before. So let's see how this goes. Okay, this first one is called Something About Clock's Time, the Weight of It. I've been thinking a lot about water deities and wondering which keep insisting on my journey through fresh waters. Yamoja is my sibling born recently in Aquarius. They stared spears into my eyes when we first met. Somebody knew something. Regina told me something about the ancestors' matter that still paints the water. The cycle of evaporation, the means by which they travel, takes something like 200 years. So I wonder about your journey here. I choose the container of land too. It's been overcast and rainy the last 24 hours, so I've been hiding behind windows where it's warmer, but then I noticed the sun begun shining just as the clock read dusk. So I came out to greet her and was delighted the moon sought the same. I wonder about their love story and who thought to touch the drear of this day so our lovers could linger together in the midst the oldest of love tales. What of the sun's other lovers? Distant moons steer distant waters. I wonder if they recorded the story of their first meeting, what language the story speak. Can you even fathom a love so enduring we never question? The strength of their devotion, how could you? The stars and her planets plus the moon and other comets can't read clocks, only movement, only cycles and routines. They know relation and reflection, the sensation of rocking chairs. The next one is called I Can See Spirit in the Birds. And I wrote this last poem and this one at this residency on Madeline Island. That was like super dreamy and magical. I can see spirit in the birds, wood patterns and pollen debris. I see spirit sweet like Mamanita sugar. My own voice, red earth, peppered black sand. The sun glistening silk on water, spirit all in the moles on your face. Even within it all, you can always find me here at the tip of your vision, in between and surrounding. A small trinity, you noticed me in your first grade classroom. You asked, why is this what's got me fixed? As you're here in the dark, you can find me in the stars or beneath the surface, what you call your God. I can see spirit in the waves and the lip of burning bark, the teeny bubbles that endure at the foot of your lapping against the shore. I can see spirit through the light in the trees. The flowers cast shadows, the moon revealed from clouds unwanting. Her light slithers on waters unrested. The last one, thank you. Okay, this last one I wrote, it's a little bit longer. I wrote it, my friend asked me to write a response to Earth, Wind, and Fire's greatest hits. So that's okay. No shame, you know. Sometimes when I play music loud in my house, I worry about what my neighbors will think. Earth, Wind, and Fire are experts for infusing their music with black ash joy and futurity in a way that can only emanate joy to and from all who can hear. Today, I left the plant matter stuck in my hair, and walked myself to the coffee shop. When I think of joy, I think of trumpets in September. There's a video of me from when I was littler, when my best friend Kasani singing and dancing September in falsetto somewhere. Back when joy was made of ignorance and blissful as she can be, rather than horns and drums and party sounds. There was a time in the 90s when Tommy Pickles' grandpa played the trumpet, and I decided then and there I'd learn to play the trumpet. I took lessons for less than one school year, and then abandoned it for a more melancholy violin. Joy was elusive, slippery, intangible back then. I can imagine the future that they're dreaming of, that they're manifesting in this music. I think it is the same future a lot of us are still striving for. It is an inherited dream that we haven't reached just yet. at least not in a sustained way. But there are always pockets, always moments, always divots in the clouds where the sun can shine through. Some other thoughts on fantasy. I recently learned something about autistic fixation, how my autistic fixation might live entirely somewhere in my head or fantasy land. I used to fantasize compulsively, incessantly, obsessively to escape my reality, but I built a world within the curve of my skull that was mine, and I lived there. Today, I live in the future, and there are elements of this fantasy world that are manifesting here today. I made a friend today. I had a date today. I made art with my hands today. I sang a song. I'm thinking about how essential music and singing and voice and instruments and horns, bells are to joy and calling in a future. This thing about fixation, when a band fixates on the curation of joy, something is coming up for me about the way sound waves are released from our bodies and into the air, moving in ways we cannot see across the earth, and I can only assume across time as well, and the power this must hold, the power of what we can't see but can feel. We can hear it here in the future. And dancing, I've been dancing a lot, which is good for my body and my descendants. This statement also makes me think about being in our heads, or this intangible, unhuman, but accessible spiritual space as connecting with ancestors, and then being in our bodies, like the touch stuff, as connecting with descendants, maybe. Today, I'm with Mabole at home, co-working and chit-chatting, and today my thoughts on Earth, Wind, and Fire's greatest hits are due. I feel validated in this album. I feel like there are pieces of me in here, and then there are pieces in here that are new to me. I'm in this new place, this future that I dreamt of once. I smile most days. I laugh and talk to people. There are folks to talk to, and sometimes we chant and sing love songs. Love songs come from the throat and vibrate in the wind. Chanting, singing, these are vocal technologies of beckoning a future. In the wind, I rode on a love song to a place where there's dancing, and I danced around the room with my cat Parsley, and I stomped my feet like Grandmama taught me, and I thought of futures on the other side of Fall of Empire. I saw a future we gave birth to.
Y'all, real quick, I want to make a quick announcement. So we are selling products today. We have authors and artists here. They're selling books. I'm selling my book Before I Live. We have a few authors, James Estwick, who's going to be here, that's selling their book as well as some poetry. She has her book as well as some art things going on too. We're going to set up at the back of that table back there, so don't be shy. Please purchase, and if you want to donate too, because I truly believe in pouring back into the artists. It takes a lot of guts to come up here to organize things, so any type of community support is always welcome. Our second poet is Lucreshia. Lucreshia is a therapist based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She is part of Carolyn Holbrook's mentor series, Go Back and Fetch It, Black Writers Cohort. I met Lucreshia during this series, and she is so empowering and inspirational. Lucreshia has been dealing with some personal issues, but she's always shown up, especially for events like this. And so I'm going to say personally, thank you so much, Lucreshia. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucreshia. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Oh, just two small pieces. I'm a little nervous, though. The townhouse. Reality is healing. A yellow townhouse on a hill in a town, small city, 3 bedrooms, no basement, a functioning laundry room, clean, a place for everything. Black smiling faces framed on the walls, a backyard with green grass, and always a kitchen table. A black, heavy-set woman cutting up potatoes, spotless kitchen, and R&B playing in the background. This is what it was, at least I thought. Open and quiet, lonely but fleeting. I don't remember smiles in real life. The sadness clinging to the isolation, masked by independence and an outgoing personality, perhaps. I don't remember thinking, only watching, waiting for a truck to burst through the living room wall on Christmas Day, or being choked out in front of visiting relatives for having a smart-ass mouth, mad at silence, hurt for attention, whatever flavor. Truthfully, I don't remember crying or feeling sorry for myself then. All right, this last one. Maybe a little nicer. Let my sister tell it. I have recently been seeing a quote that goes something like, on the other side of generational curses, there is the generational joy, blessings, and beauty within you. Isn't it true? Memory is that beat-up old penny you can't spend fast enough. It's all about understanding how we tell stories, the things we remember. Leave it to me to mention the loneliness and neglect, but if you let my sister tell it, she will weave a mosaic of love in the form of thick palms that greased our young faces, proving how she knew we were beautiful. And our home, a soft landing place, after smiling all day at people we didn't know and who couldn't fully know us, how we had each other. Now me, I might go far into the shadow of a thing, the black abyss, but at times was us. But if you let my sister tell it, with her words and her way, you will hear about the warmth of Sundays, her favorite meal, and a strong sense of knowing who we belong to. She'd say we were Denise's kids. We, all three of us, carried her mouth of diamonds with us daily. History of survival branded on us like matching laughing tattoos. She'll say how she loved us with every meal she ever prepared, and oh, how she cared. A black queen who could have been anything, but chose to love us, cook for us, and be with us. Be our queen, bead our hair, and hustle hard, a true warrior of sacrifice. She helps me remember Christmas, movie traditions, and our brothers' dreams. It mattered, braving winter storms to get our perfect family photo. And in all her searching for a man, there was hope in finding us a father too, of a wholeness she wished for, a protector of our tender hearts. Sometimes I forget and get lost in the cracks and what's missing and the pain, but if you let my sister tell it, as she does, you'll find she's the one you ought to be listening to, because she has the truth of it. You just have to lean in close, like trying to hear a soft-voiced friend over a crowded concert.
Thank you, Lucreshia. So beautiful and vulnerable. So our next performer is Avey. And Christian is an artist and inspiring author whose stories of inclusion and resilience break through stereotypes and embrace intersectionality. His goal is to create heroes that resonate with and empower all people. He earned his bachelor's degree in interactive game design from the Savannah College of Art and Design. Christian is a proud member of the 2024 cohort of the Mirrors and Windows Fellowship and More Than a Single Stories 2024-2025 cohort for Go Back and Fetch It.
And the 2026.
He served as an online moderator for the Loft Literary Center, Open Voices Multicultural Writing Group, and he is the co-founder of Skull Dogs Media, directs and writes scripts for stories, skits on YouTube, and leads the Wild Dogs Balin team. Welcome,
Beyblade.
Christian.
Hello. So, all right, of course, first I want to say thank you to Dralandra for inviting me to this. So, thank you, Dralandra. Well, let's dive in. These poems I wrote a few months ago when I went through a hard time in my life. My brother had to undergo a treatment, and for the following 2 months I couldn't see him, and it kind of broke me. So I spent one of those months writing 114 poems. Some are about him, some are about me, some are less specific, some are short, some are tough, some are too personal for me to share. But this first piece was one of a handful that I had published in the Loft's Open Voices Writers Group's digital magazine, Tapestry. This poem wasn't written in my voice, Rather, I tried to emulate the style of a character from the Welcome to Night Vale series, known as the faithless old woman who secretly lives in your home. So, forgive me if it's a bit creepy, but it is almost October. Invisible. I am invisible. You cannot see me, but you feel me. You think of me often, too often. That little tingle on the back of your neck, that ache in your chest, that's me. Is it love? Is it pain? Is it torture? Cold and malicious, twisting you up inside, stealing your safety, turning every waking moment into your living hell. Or is it love? Calm, guiding, a constant presence. Always there, always there. Here, protecting you, guiding you. Is it the knife? Is that knife for you? Or for them? Maybe it's for me. Don't play with the knife. Play with love, out of control. Play with passion, fire burning too hot. Play with care, walls up, filter down. Play with me, I am your plaything. A dirty little rag you throw away. But I'm always there. I always love you, even when it's not enough. I am invisible. This next piece was inspired by a now famous line from the Scott Pilgrim series. Inspired is a word which here means it inspired the title and the first line, and it doesn't really have anything else to do with the rest of the poem. So, bread makes you fat. Bread makes you fat, yet we're bred to hate fatness by those white bread haters that poison rats and gentrify, bleach their flowered flowers. We pick the grains whole wheat brown, dip our crowns in the sweet nectar of full fat milk. These 2% villains think they know us, show us lies to make us believe we are not worthy. We are too full, too big and beautiful. Sorry, I meant fugly dufflings. Make us think we're dirt when we are the fertile soil. We grow the grain, they bleach white to make our bodies toil. Yeah, that's the end of that one. This one's a short one. Admiration. Admiration, emancipation from assimilation, stagnation, consecration of concentration. This spiritual constipation is damnation to a hell of our own creation. Colorblind. Colorblind, a symptom of a lying system. Hidden treatment, gaslights on a street with no end. Walled off. Some say we didn't ask for this. But we did, didn't we? Free your mind on Vogue. Be colorblind, don't be so shallow. Tired of being treated as different, other, lesser. We begged to be equal. That's how they got us. Feigning equal opportunity as a scapegoat to hide true racism, saying everyone's the same, but I just have this preference. To hide the true intolerance, be intolerant of intolerance. We did not scream for less. Colorblind was hope, but it was not the way. It was a lie to define and hide the truth. That's the nature of the man, the ruse we all fell for. Now we're fighting back. There is value in all things, except for racism. There is beauty in colored hues. Those who love the rainbow, untainted by jaded hatred. The truth is, we must celebrate us. Our lives, our differences, what makes us special and unique. Not the homogeneous, gentrified melting pot of one body. Be not colorblind, but be colorful. And I'm going to riff off of Dralandra for a moment here. Remember when India Ari sung, I am not my hair? I always hated my hair. It never really did what I wanted it to. I tried to control it, burning it with heat and cream and hatred, but the straightness never lasts. The whiteness wouldn't hold. I'd soothe myself with music. I am not my hair. I am not this skin. I am not my hair. I am not this skin. A beautiful song of the colorblind era. What she meant was, I am more than myself. I exist beyond what you think you see. I chose to interpret it as, I am not me. Sometimes even well-intentioned things can help us feel more comfortable hating ourselves. When I was tired of controlling my hair with fire, I shaved it so I didn't have to bother. I shrank myself so I wouldn't be seen. It served its purpose, but it wasn't me. It's strange, looking back at those photos, I see someone who's trying not to be me. Later, I finally fed my roots, cared for my hair, and found myself in it, not against it. Now I know who I am and what I can be. It's what I want. My hair is a mood, although it's still true that I'm not my hair. My hair is me. This next one's called Sick Root to Kill a Tree. And special thanks to my other brother, Cody Ingalls, for providing the phrase to inspire and for helping me write this poem. Sick root to kill a tree. A single sick root suffocates the tree. The tree thinks it's broken. It doesn't want to die. Something festers, and the silence, so loud, triggers, pulls the target. Pain forgets its name, calls medicine enemy. On bloodlines and battlefields, memory a landmine, every whispered past an explosion no one meant to set off. Not war between hearts, but a war within them. Mirror mistaken for monster, truth mistaken for threat, question mistaken for knife. Fear wears its crown, love becomes treason. When wounds go unspoken, they learn how to scream. But the rot is not the tree. Silence is not the story. Not every branch needs to fall to grow something new. Communication isn't violence, it's medicine, messy and slow. Disagreement isn't danger, it's life finding out where to go. Care over war, don't burn down the orchard. Just clip back what's strangling the fruit. Prune the root, don't poison the soil. It takes a sick root to kill the tree, when pruning is all you need. Now for something a little different. This poem is the odd one out. It's the one poem I wrote after the month-long writing period. It's about Beyblade. Special thanks to Louis Tao, my Beyblade teammate on the Wild Dogs, for requesting this poem. Synergy. Part swap, part synergistic spin. Blade too heavy, please try again. Ratchet off balance, bit too much friction. Launching too fast, uncontrolled interdiction. Try another tact, swap part swap. New strategy, advantage, find better balance. Three-pronged ratchet for a three-sided blade. Put it on elevate to put others to shame. Don't miss your mark as the starting chant sounds. 3, 2, 1, let it rip. All right, and this is the last poem. The words I have to say. I don't know if this will help as much as I think it will, but I mean every word. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to fight for you. I fight because I believe in who you are under the fear, even if you can't see it yourself. You don't have to be perfect. You never did. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do deserve to be whole. If you ever lose yourself, I'll be right here, holding space for the version of you that's still growing. You've always taken care of others, but who takes care of you?
Wow, that was beautiful and tender, Kristen. I love your poetry. I feel like it invites us to embrace ourselves and the parts that we try to hide. So thank you for that. Our next poet is Ayolanda Evans. She began her writing journey in the 4th grade and has evolved into a poet, spoken word artist, creative writer, and storyteller. As an African descendant of slavery and other forms of cultural subjugation, the narratives of her ancestors are deeply woven into her perspective. Ayolanda is a versatile writer whose work spans poetry, fiction, and nonfiction genres, often exploring personal and cultural themes. Her fiction dwells into diverse characters and intricate plots within the Black experience, while her nonfiction offers insightful commentary on social issues informed by her community's history. She is a wife and mother who holds numerous roles of responsibility within her community, including leading her organization titled Black Family Blueprint alongside her husband, Mr. Bandele. Thank you.
Peace, everybody. Can I just step this back just a little bit? Thank you. You know, y'all, I'm a little awkward. It's been about 20 years, over 20 years actually, since I've actively writing is rooted in healing, and so you'll hear the themes of healing, especially historical trauma. You'll hear those pieces come up in my pieces, and I'm so happy to be here with some of my writing cohort fellowship loves. It's good to be here in this space. The first piece that I'm going to do, this requires a little bit of explanation, is called Beef, and it's a duplex poem. If anyone is familiar with the writer and poet Jericho Brown, he founded a poetic form called a duplex, and it's a little too difficult to explain, but I encourage you, if you've never heard of it, it's really cool. If you geek out on writing, then check out the duplex poem. Okay. He became a vegan in his 20s. Black belts against black bodies leave marks unseen. Unseen sacrifice for red and brown flesh. Submission requires fear of something. Some things need nothing more than attrition. Trauma tricks hearts and extends to hands. And trauma-bound hands extend to black belts. Seared flesh in a heavy bottom pot. She was a bottom-heavy vessel, browning and blackening his flesh with raw hide. Raw hide was a gift from her generations, a sacrificed life for a sacrificed life, sacrificed taste to heal and protect vessels. So he became a vegan in his 20s. If anybody got like a family member or a friend who's always calling you asking for money, or it's entitled, "You Can't Keep Calling Me for Cash, Comrade." You can't keep calling me for cash, comrade. Cash causing cataclysmic clashes, comrade. Co-opted camaraderie and connection, comrade. Causing confrontation. Creating combat in our chemistry. Constructive contact coming quick. Cooling the core. Carrying crooked crown and crystal commissary. Collecting copacetic composure, counteracting consequence. Curbing corpse, comrade. Chill, comrade. Cash ain't change. Cash ain't change. All right, these last two is going to tell you a little bit about who I am. She was a 1930s baby. She was short, soft, thick, dark patch on her cheek from lupus. Her smile was golden. She wore glasses, soft voice, but mighty in her short stature. Gray afro, quiet strength, African by way of remembering. She named the children that came through her: Charles Jr., Becky, Jay, Dell, and Diane. Anybody know my family? She had a hand in naming the children that came through them: Charles III, Kira, Patsy, Shauna, Lydia, Michael, Rebecca, Douglas, and Chappelle. But me? She named me Ayolanda Camila. I yearned for what I thought was a so-called regular name. I used to want a name that read easily, that didn't provoke the questions: where are you from? Are you from Africa? Like a name with one syllable, like Kay or May or Claire. Like a name I could find on a keychain or a magnet at the fair. Or a name with two syllables, like Lisa, like Tina, like Anna, like Sarah. Like a slave name that rolled off the tongues of the oppressor without hesitation. Like a name that needed no mutilation to something shorter, because it was just so unique and exotic and different. I wanted a name that masked just how black I am. And a name like Ayolanda got stuck in the Anglo-shaped mouths of my miseducators. Got stuck in their throats and their noses on the way out. And it manifested as something that sounded like Ayolanda. Non-rhythmic, staccato, colorless, bleached, chalky. And at the time I hated my name because they said it was too hard to pronounce. Because they said the spelling was wrong. Because they refused to respect the phonetic structure of names that carry with them a history of a whole people. But now, I love Ayolanda, 8 letters with 4 fluid syllables. One of a kind like a graffiti tag covering the bench in your favorite park. My name is like big bubble letters blasted and blockbuster on the buildings of the boulevard. Grandmother made sure that when you heard my name, you gonna know it's me. She was my father's mother. I didn't get to spend too much time with her while she was here because, you know, dysfunctional families be like that sometimes, right? You be thinking you have more time, and then they're gone. But spiritual connection transcends physical death. So she knew me. My grandma knew who I was before my first breath. She danced with my spirit when I was in the womb. She connected me to a history and my people with my name, me. The onlyest person in my family with an African name. African, Nigerian, Yoruba to be exact. Ayo means joy. Gave me an African name to align my path, to define my future, to order my steps. Ayolanda became an assignment of self and peoplehood discovery. Ayolanda led me to find a love of words, reading and writing, practicing pronunciation, enunciation, articulation, and rhyme. I learned that while I might be fluent in the language of our enslavers, I still think African. Learned that Black colloquial is perfect and proper. Learned that ain't nothing broken about my dialect. See, these big brown eyes come with a revolutionary liberation tinted lens, and I have no need to offend and no need to blend. I am not BIPOC, or people of color, or POC. But I am a lover. I'm a lover. And I let my spirit guide, protect, provide while I am on this land. Words that were once foreign to my grandmother's mouth drip from my lips and create street art on bland brick on demand. Latin letter clusters landing on paper transforming into words that were once foreign in my motherland. Rhymes fall off my tongue like water through your hand, accumulating like grains of sand. I weave narratives like the pieces of grandma's story quilt. Consonants and vowels create abstract Basquiat work of excellence from the spirit land. An intricate jazz solo on an Edmonia Lewis sculpture. I come from Ebonic speaking beings who follow the patterns braided in their head to reach hidden landmarks. My grandmother now dances in the ancestral realm, but what she left me with is my name, a love for my people, a remembering of who I am and whose I am. My name broke the mold of Eurocentric Christianic complacency and colonized practices. My English language spoken is the scar of a generational wound, a tightly coiled skein of golden thread ungracefully unraveling from oppressive opportunities that ushered my language of origin to the tomb. My people planted and plucked and picked and pecked and pounded from the sun to the moon. So our ways of being, speaking, knowing, and healing lie in the harvest that we consume. And now we speak a vernacular that continues to bloom from the womb. Our sounds become a handwritten love letter to the world, sitting with sweet potato pie, resilience, butter beans, greens, fried chicken, chitlins, and cultural healing. Because the womb is where the light enters in. We're thriving and surviving our fraternal twins. And the difference is like choosing the green juice over the juice and chicken. The tones of our voices ride the global atmosphere, dancing on the beat of spiritual evolution. Black will always be black, will always transcend. Black art is black breath. Black breath is black life. Black life is black struggle. Black struggle is black power. And black names, black words, black sounds, black subjects and predicates paint the world wild style. All in the midst of the thin-skinned European sins that be like scattered ink blots and smeared dots and splattered paint littered across the timeline of the bloodlines of my kinfolk. But ancestral kindred spoke to evoke the smoke, and we be mighty like Octavia Butler's pen stroke. Lines be future telling, keeping eyes wide open. My blackness ain't no field trip, project, program, proposal, proposition, payday, or dividend. For historically white institutions to pretend that they comprehend how deep the myth of white supremacy extends. My culture and my language ain't no costume to be perpetrated with no recognition in your favorite TikTok trend. I am not your Negro. Word to black writers like James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Ralph Ellison, and Zora Neale Hurston. Because black literature is the arms of our grandbearers massaging our eternal soul. Black literature, the spoken word and the written, be stimulating stimulation, elevating elevation, educating education, and teaching forever lessons with words and names that were once foreign to our grandmother's tongue. That's my husband, my son, my daughter. Y'all. All right. So this last piece is about who I am as a mother. I'm a mother wherever I go. I was a mother before I bore children from my womb, and I'm a mother everywhere I go. This is about that for me. Generation X, new millennium abolitionist. I'm a freedom-fighting woman with Harriet's premonitions. Queen Nanny Maroon missionary. I carry liberation with my ancestral emissaries. I got that anti-colonial, Stono rebellion, that Turner energy. Ida B. Wells Winchester on the mantelpiece, defending life and protecting peace. I throw these hands for a lifetime with the courage to pull and release. Standing on the front line, 12G slung on my spine, hip concealing my 9-380 ready to buy time if it means our babies have a shot. I said I will stand on the front line with 12 gauge slung on my spine, hip concealing my 9-380 on my ankle, ready to buy time if it means that our babies have a shot. If they have a chance at Black existence without oppressive statistics rooted in white supremacy. My resistance is persistent. Spirit will go the distance, traveling through dimensions with a soul salve, carving space within you for a pressure release valve, because this is a time and a place where fear makes you feel alive, where joy makes you feel anxious, and anxiety makes you understand that the ups and downs of Black life prevail like the pen in my command, like water through my hand, moving, evolving, shifting, defining, and cleansing. I house the womb of the insurrection. The formula for resurrection is in my complexion, ancestral connection, eternal reflection, and internal protection, my child. You are not limited to the block. You come from deep roots, bloodlines, and rich stock. I am an African woman, creating, creation, greens and cornbread fed. I thrive in sunshine and gray skies. Round nose, thick lips, and big thighs, intuitive eyes, gut detecting lies in a spirit that soothes our grandmother's cries. I am a descendant of American chattel enslavement. My womb gives birth to bravery. For the new generations of sisters and brothers, I am the radical Black mother. My baby. When you are on your knees in distress and your inner me is your enemy, I'll be pouring 7 shots of hope into your chest to mitigate the cardiac duress, restoring me with the milk from my breast to ease the pain. I cultivate roots and conjure radical reflections of rebellion for the expansion of the neurons in your brain. Strategic plans of action for liberation allows your spirit to be unchained. I will discipline you when recipes for centering Blackness when being your authentic self becomes a challenge to maintain, because your excellence will always be too excellent for narrow boxes to contain. I am clutching the best of you, the best of the best, and I uphold your greatness just in case you forget who you are in the midst of life's tests. So I stay praying that God will bless to override the times when this world attempts to replace the air in your lungs with the fluids of toxic stress. Never forget that progress is a process and you are aligned towards success, my child. We will jihad against marginalization, oppression, and every other systemic, internal, and external attempt at making you believe that you are less. My child, you will not be another nigga to acquiesce to whiteness for the sake of belonging or competition. We on that 2025 modern day abolition, that blackity black cultural transmission, that return to the earth expedition, Florida water purification, humble supplication, and ancestral intuition. Remember, your Blackness never needs permission. Just make sure that your cognition never runs out of ammunition to fight the opposition and force the demolition of the delusion of white supremacy and racist institutional conditions. You will not die in the darkness. You will become rooted, because what harms you arms you. You were born to live. You were born to fight. I will lay my life down to protect you because you were born to experience Black is beautiful. Black love, Black intimacy, Black joy, Black peace, Black power, Black wisdom, Black wealth, Black food, Black education, Black time, Black growth, Black family, Black people, Black spirituality, Black healing, Black rituals, Black freedom, Black culture, Black music, Black future, Black history, Black action, Black soil, Black truth, Black business, Black earth, Black protection, Black God, Black unity. I am your Umi. I am your Amma, your Ami, your Mazazi, your Mami. There is
Yes, she does. Thank you. You lit this up. Thank you so much. Simone is the pen name of MSD, a Minneapolis-born author who bloomed in Houston's art scene and returned home with her sharper pen and a softer heart. Her latest release, 27 Unlearning Obligation, Rediscovering Identity, spans grief, mental health, and melancholy truth, while parts of her catalog of poetic collections pivot into Shakespearean erotica and velvet-lined love letters. No matter the muse, no one's immune to the ink. Everybody's eligible, for poetry, of course. Her work whisper wounds and welcomes. It's for the bold-hearted, the tender-curious, and anyone learning to feel out loud. Welcome, Simone.
Y'all have been both my parents for my It's pronounced Simonét poetry. I wrote this book grieving my grandmother, and all the pieces put on my heart to perform. She will want me to release this. So, we just gonna release it. I was my grandmother's caregiver for the last 6 years of her life. Had a lot of anger in me still. I'm her youngest granddaughter, and I had that responsibility that no one else in my family, the matriarch of my family, no one else did their due diligence in my eyes. So, I'm just going 3 poems, maybe 4.
Okay.
Maybe 4. I'm leaning on it. There's one I want to do. But it's funny, my other grandmother, this is my maternal grandmother, my paternal grandmother. I had to make her a big print copy of my book so she could read it, so she could support me. And so this is the one I'm reading. So hopefully the both of them, between the both of them, living and gone, give me what I need to get through this. The weight is not the same. They call it a shared loss, as if we are drowning in the same sea. But I know the difference between treading water and being tied to the wreckage. I've been unfastening myself finger by finger, breath by breath, learning that duty is not devotion, that love does not have to be servitude. And yet, grief is still heavier than my hands can hold. They weep and then walk away. But I remain where I always was, the one who bore the burdens, the one who held the walls up long after they were meant to fall. Their sorrow is clean, a quiet ache, a passing storm that leaves behind clear skies. Mine is marrow deep, thick with exhaustion, shaped by years of giving more than I have. And so when they say we all lost something, I say nothing, only nod. Because what I lost was never just them, but myself too. Safe and secure. It's funny, isn't it? Double bagging. In the grocery store, it's reassurance. Layers to keep the fragile safe, a shield against splits and spills. It's practical, comforting. But somewhere else in life, it becomes something else entirely. Imagine being wrapped up layer after layer. The first bag might feel like protection, soft, snug, like someone's watching out for you. But then comes the second, At first, it's just another layer, right? A little extra care, but soon you realize it isn't care, it's control. The air gets thinner, the seams press tighter. It's not protection anymore, it's a prison. Each layer tells you it's for your own good. This is how I keep you safe, it says. The safety starts to taste like suffocation. And you wonder if you ever asked for this kind of protection in the first place. Double bagging holds you in place, manipulates you with its weight. You can't move without the crinkle of its grip reminding you that someone else has decided how much you need to be kept together. And the irony, all those layers that were meant to keep you from falling apart, now they're the reason you're breaking, piece by piece, in silence. All right, this is the one I want to do. This is the one I want to do. Hidden in plain sight. I sit between the lines of your conversations. I have formed thought you never say aloud. My name is dust on your bookshelf, settling, waiting, never wiped away. I move like light through a stained glass window, fractured, scattered, never whole. You walk through me without a shiver, never noticing the cold I leave behind. My laughter evaporates before it reaches your ear, a ghost of sound, a breath of almost. I wave, and the air shifts, but you never turn. I speak, and the silence swallows me whole. Once, I tried to make myself loud, wore colors too bright, words too sharp. But even then, your eyes slid past me like rain down a window pane. So now, I fold into corners, press myself into the background, watching, waiting, knowing. One day, I will disappear completely, and then maybe you will see. Can I do one more? She's telling me to keep going, keep going. Okay. Understand. The mirror remembers. The mirror does not lie, but it does forget. It holds my face like a fading photograph, a reflection worn thin by years of doubt, a ghost of who I thought I should be. I learned to avoid its gaze, to blur the edges of my own image, as if I could erase the echoes of voices that told me I was not enough. Validation was a language I never learned, and reassurance, a luxury I was too afraid to ask for. But the mirror remembers. It remembers the child who dreams without fear of the world's sharp edges. The girl who didn't flinch at her own reflection, who stood as if she belonged everywhere. It remembers even when I forget. Now, I stand here, eyes meeting eyes, and I feel the weight of reclaiming. The path to myself is jagged, strewed with the debris of old beliefs, but I walk it anyway. I speak words I was never told. You are worthy. You are whole. You are enough. They feel foreign on my tongue, but they land softly in my chest, like seeds breaking through stone. There is power in seeing yourself clearly, in brushing away the dust of others' opinions and finding the glow beneath. The mirror does not lie. It simply waits, patient and still, for me to remember what it has always known. And now, as I face it, I see not just a reflection, but a reunion. Thank you.
Very
Oh, thank you so much, Simonét.
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 Like Simone and Monet together. Simonét.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your work. Again, they are selling books, so please, after the show, speak to them, purchase their work. Our next performer is James, and then we'll have one last performer, which is Jess. So James Estwick is a poet based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, originally from Omaha, Nebraska. His debut collection, Coffee, a reflection of my life relationships, explore the intimate moments that have shaped his life. A senior at Metropolitan State University, studying creative writing in English, James continues to develop his voice while working on his second book. Congratulations. Outside of writing, he enjoys time with his partner of 19 years, their 3 pets, and a close circle of family and friends. Welcome, James.
Okay, it doesn't matter how many times I'm in front of people, I will try to read slow because when I get nervous. The first poem I'll read is called I Pray for You, Black Child. There was a young lady that kind of inspired it, that lived in my building. Every day she was outside arguing with her boyfriend. It was really toxic. And one day I was just like, I'm gonna pray for that child. And so I thought about my grandmother, and I mean, it was nice to hear you talk about your grandmother. It's unfortunate the last thing. My grandmother died when I was 13. She was only 56. And so I didn't have a real relationship with her as an adult, but I felt like this would be something she would say to me. I pray for you, black child. For the world we live is not always fair. While others live joyously free, we have to do so with so much care. The dreams we dream, our dreams, are made to be so far from reach. In constant fear of failure never brings us peace. I pray for you, black child, that you try to let go. Release the anger we hold. Bound by the judgment of the world we see, anger makes us cold. It's okay to be angry. It's human nature to be. But we are so much more, far more than what others choose to see. We are light. We are love, and we too are free. I pray for you, black child. I pray you find your love. I pray you find your light. I pray you dream higher, higher than the sky. But most of all, I pray that you find true meaning in life, and I pray you find it before it slips you by. I pray for you, black child. So the next poem I'm going to read, Langston Hughes was like one of my first poetry inspirations, and so this was inspired by his poem, Negro Speaks of Rivers. Rivers run deep, dark and calm, violent and free. Rivers run deep with the blood of man taken from his peace. River runs deep with tears of sorrow and lies untold. Rivers run deep with everlasting light and life yet to unfold. Rivers run deep, reflecting the moon, mirroring the stars. Rivers run deep, like flowing blood from an open scar. Rivers run deep with promises of freedoms and to be brave. Yet here I am drowning in this deep river, still a slave. Okay. The next one is called Blue. It was actually inspired by a painting by my best friend. If you've never seen the pictures on my IG. She painted this picture right after George Floyd died. And it's of a black man, and he has a flower in his head. But we were in a space that people weren't catching the context of what was happening in that. So I wrote about it, and then she wanted to share it. I was really nervous because of the content of it. I tell myself I'm going to be radical and I'm going to speak up, but this was one of those moments that forced me. Flowers will bloom where my black body will lay. I could have shown you my beauty in so many other ways. But here I lie victim to systemic ties. And you pulled the trigger before you saw the tears in my eyes. Now I have vacant thoughts as life seeps from my pores. I wasn't even a threat to you, but look, whose life mattered more? Yours. Now the ground that I occupy blooms the most beautiful flowers, seeped of all my love, all my power. Perfect stems crowned with perfect flowered heads, but you only noticed my beauty after I was dead. Now the last one is gonna be hard for me to get through. This pretty much what the book is about. Coffee was my grandfather's favorite thing to drink. When he got older, he didn't remember who I was. Was in a class, had a writing prompt, said something you could smell. The smell of coffee always makes me happy, so it always makes me begin. Coffee, black as night. No cream, no sugar. Steam rising from the endless cups he drank. At least 3 Folger cans around the house were spitting tobacco. He'd sit rocking back and forth in his chair on the porch, watching cars drive by. Country music playing softly from atop the small table in the corner, reminiscing of the time he spent with his grandfather. Only then roads were dusty with the coffee-colored dirt of a segregated Arkansas. I'd be miserable. The cans of spit disgusted me. They looked like what he drank, but smelled 1,000 times worse. The sound of the rocking chair and the slow drawl of the music usually put me to sleep. Yet I wanted nothing more than to share these moments in my own little chair. No cans of chewed tobacco in my area. These moments probably reminiscent to those he spent with his grandfather, watching cars drive by, drinking coffee, mine or milk sweetened with pounds of sugar. On quiet days, I sit and I listen to the cars that drive by, and allow my brain to be flooded with memories of when your mind started to fade. Wondering if there wasn't such a likeness to my father, would you have even remembered my name? And I become bitter, like the stuff you used to drink, black, like the part of your brain that controls your life. But bitterness does not make the memories matter any less. I prefer the taste. No sugar, no cream, black as night, coffee.
Thank you so much, James. James is also selling books tonight too, so after the show, you can purchase some books from James as well. Our final reader is Jess, going by Jess Human. Jess Human is a memoirist, poet, and author of Sis Your Copper. Her work explores the messy, magical space between survival and self-acceptance. Through journal verse and raw storytelling, Jess invites readers to confront shame, reclaim pleasure, and make peace with their humanity. She's a believer in art as a path to healing. Welcome, Jess.
I wanted to appreciate and express gratitude for as much vulnerability that was shared on the stage tonight. I was brought to tears with our last artist. Can y'all do a round of applause for folks like with people they don't even know? I find that writing is a form of my therapy. I won't say it is the only form of therapy, right? I fully believe in real therapy too. And exercise and eating right and lots of things. There's lots of modalities of making sure that we are well. But I have found my wellness in writing. And that's what led to my first book, which is my memoir. And it was essentially a place for me to share what I call my shit shows, or places in my life where we're the most messy, and seek nervous system regulation or re-regulation from that dysfunction. And so as I think about even what brought me here to Minnesota, y'all, I'm from Detroit. And I appreciate and love the Blackness in this room, and I appreciated all of your pieces and how we centered Blackness, because Minnesota has a problem with Black erasure. I am from Detroit. It is 79% Black. I am mixed and biracial, but I still feel like I am more Black than some of Minnesota. And that has been a struggle for me, and to find my place here. And so I appreciate the space that has been cultivated, who is on stage tonight, and what stories we are sharing together. And I wanted to, in that same vein, I was like, I'm gonna come up with some new pieces, right? And expose myself as a Minnesotan with what I'm doing here. And I didn't do that. And to be honest, I instead wanna stick with who I am. So I want y'all to stay with me, be who you are, read from your book, say be who you are with me. Be who you are, being who you are tonight. And I'm gonna read from my book, but what is really stuck with me lately is around mental health. And depression and suicide. These are some of the themes that are in my book, in my exploration of my own suicidal ideation. I think that there is this toxic narrative around depression and mental health that is very white-centering and very problematic, and I saw that even with our most recent school shooting here in Minnesota, and how someone grappled with their mental health and took lives as a result. And I think that we sometimes say, oh, that's a white people problem, but that's an all people problem. And so I want to share a story. One, I have a poem. I'm gonna read a couple poems, but I'm gonna really read my story from my book that kind of grounds in what my book is about. And it's called Sis Your Copper. And so, sis, your copper, melanin pristine, head held high. Sis, you are a queen. That's right, our crown, it never falters, even when you feel lack. So what if your daddy wasn't around? Baby, his gift to you was that you're Black, the birthplace of magic and a womanhood so sacred. If you're looking for perfection, baby, just stare at your reflection naked. This world is delusional, taking everything that is ours. But in your mind, body, soul, and spirit, we can heal each and every scar. No, life is not perfect, but God's plan always is. So remember, when things feel too chaotic, that you are always His. No mistake has ever been made, everything in due time. So what if this reality tarnishes your glow? There's always an opportunity to reshine. The copper alchemy is a formula meant to be used as a resource, because in this extractive ass world, you just gotta be putting you first. Sis, you're copper. Your brilliance is inherent. Your worth is defined by you, not a system full of Karens. So pray, honor your ancestors, and hold firm to the intentions you set in motion. Because within sis, your copper, the alchemy is defined as the nervous system regulation potion. And so that's the premise of the book. And chapter 2 is around the element of mental and emotional health, and it opens with a quote by James Baldwin, which is, "The mind is like an object that picks up dust. The object doesn't know any more than the mind does why what clings to it clings." The shit show. Corey. That was the name of my childhood best friend, and who I believe was my first soulmate. There was my grandma, my sisters, my mom, and then Corey. Our moms used to say he was the Simba to my Nala. The Lion King was our favorite movie. Corey and I would compete over good grades and enjoy playing house. He was the first boy to kiss me, if you know what house means. In his teenage years, he had this swag about him. He was only like 5'5", and for context, I've been over 5'10" since I was 15, but Corey was smooth as butter. I'll never forget going over to his house when I was younger and always ending up in his room talking about my life, dreams, and flirting in our "I sort of want you to touch me, but I'm scared of the consequences" kind of way. I more than loved that boy. I cherished him, and I knew we'd end up together. He was brilliant and funny. He felt like home. At 15 years old, I couldn't articulate that entirely, but I knew that together, Corey and I would conquer the world. In 2002, Corey died by suicide. Corey had gotten 2 different girls pregnant, and his mom, my godmother, Kim, passed away at the same time. Each event contributed to his feelings of hopelessness. These facts also twisted up inside of me, feeling we belonged to one another. It was the betrayal that he had been with other girls. I was angry and devastated, and I didn't know that that single traumatic event would imprint me with one particular response every time things got tough. Escapism. More on that soon. After Corey took his life, his cousin attempted to take hers, and then I tried my first suicide attempt. We were in our teens. We were on the precipice of becoming, with so much more to know and discover about ourselves. It was an exciting time, a time when we should have been thinking about our future rather than imagining a world where we no longer existed. I hadn't really considered suicide before Corey's death. I was experiencing plenty of cognitive dissonance around my racial identity and Joe's. My sexual identity was only beginning to awaken new layers of shame and questioning my acceptance inside of a community that meant so much to me. Things at home were the same as they'd always been with my mom, who was too deep in her own struggles to know whether I had any of my own. I had my grandma, I had God, I had books, and I had schools. Things weren't perfect, but up to that point, I wouldn't have said I was ever suicidal. Corey's death was a critical moment, one with a lasting impact I wouldn't come to discover until later in my life. Corey's death was the pivotal moment in my life where I became so heavy it pushed me to my knees. When the darkness became so vast, it was both blinding and deafening. Whatever pain and confusion I was already feeling in the world where he existed was now doubled without him. He had been an anchor, and now I was adrift. And so I share that excerpt from my book is because we never know whose pain we're holding on to and what markers make an impact on us. And I just want to normalize that we all, regardless of if we're white or black, struggle with mental and emotional health issues and concerns, and for us to seek support, whether it be through community, whether it be through therapy, whether it be through movement or changing your diet. There's all types of medicine that we can be doing, and I hope if you are struggling that you can seek support. And with that, one of the things that I've noticed recently is that I have the privilege of being isolated in Minnesota. I have no social outlet. I have one friend, she's here. I've been here a year and I got one friend. I'm doing something. It's really hard to make friends in Minnesota. You didn't know that as a transplant who doesn't have high school friends that they still hang out with. As someone who is Black and from Detroit and not white centering. And so these are things that I've struggled with. And so the thing that I want to close out on, because I recently went to drag bingo at Lush, and my wife, who's also in the front row, was like, you need a social outlet. You feel so much lighter now that you we actually socialize. It's called Can You Be My Friend application. Consider this Will You Be My Friend application. Only necessary because my new employment brought me to this somewhat foreign Midwest location. A place I wouldn't exactly call a desirable destination, mostly because I hold little to no winter appreciation. But I digress. I'm just caught wondering, like, Minnesota, what the fuck is that? I mean, it's giving Wisconsin, as my friends back home ask. It's giving a place where people die by police because we're black. I mean, come on, God, where's Detroit? Take me back. Shoot, y'all. This was supposed to be for happy thoughts. The prospect of new friends is what I had originally sought. So yeah, consider this my new friend matchmaker. I'm looking for millennials who thrift and are a bit of coffee addicted. Any takers?
So charming. Love about it. Y'all, that's the end of the show. I'm gonna leave us off with 3 poems. So, and by the way, we got Detroit and Houston up in here. So nice. Very nice. Thank y'all coming out. So y'all was talking about grandmothers and family and bloodlines. So I want to go ahead and share a poem about my grandmother, who's also no longer with us. History stares back at me through the obituary. Black as slavery. Jimmy Lee Lloyd, born Jim Crow, Mississippi, 1945. 40 miles from where they lynched 14-year-old Emmett Till, Sunflower County soil. Same ground I was born on. Her hands calloused, blistered fingertips, hair springing in freedom towards heaven, smiling. 4 sons, 1 daughter. Branded with a name carried through cotton fields and kitchen floors. She lived through it too. Worked the fish plant. Under the Mississippi sun, it don't rush for nobody. It stretched across slow hours. Fed her family with tired hands and an unfolded fist. Seasoned catfish with Lari, paprika, lemon pepper served with spaghetti and a biscuit. I imagine how many dimples she pressed into her palms, how she massaged valleys out her hands. And like most soldiers, she died on her soles, alone. Her chest collapsed like a worn church pew, too much given and not enough rest. She came to me in a dream where my memories of her still reside. She said, since I wasn't there for you on earth, child, I'll protect you now as your forever spirit guide. And after her death, Mama got her white holy Bible, notes inked in faith, guarded by spirits in a wooden cupboard. When my second eldest brother got his first haircut at 13, Mama sweat his strands in Genesis as a bookmark. And when our cat Lucy lost a tooth in a fight with the vet, she tucked it in Psalms. That Bible has held our family for over 20 years. Mama buries offering in its pages and not a single leaf neglected. In return, Grandma sends her love through every passage, keeping us covered and protected. The second piece I'm gonna share is called Kitchen Songs. So I haven't shared this piece out loud. For me, it's kind of a vulnerable piece because I'm talking and exposing my insecurities. But Kristen, you gave me some courage tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Kitchen Songs. Being black and beautiful always felt like it came with a warning label. Handle with grace, handle with patience, handle with care, and handle with love. I knew I was different when my mama either pulled out the rat tail comb or the hot comb like it was a weapon. A blade passed down for generations. She goes straight for the kitchen. Naps sizzling like bacon at the back of my head, blue magic melting, frying my scalp raw. Heated tears baked behind my lashes. Stop, Ma, that hurt. Girl, hush. Beauty is pain. Now let me cook and get this kitchen under control. And that was a black girl's baptism, a hot comb on a Sunday. She started parting down my scalp like Moses split the Red Sea, taking the same path our ancestors carved through chains, auction blocks, and fields hot enough to cook a soul and fry a spirit. She yanked at the roots. Each tug yanked out the lies the West sold us, that beautiful meant straight, light, easy. Meanwhile, my hair fought back, kinked, coiled, edges rebelling, crying out for freedom. I sat between her knees on a warm pillow, head bowed like I was taking communion, wondering, why did God crown me with struggle? Why couldn't my strands waterfall like others did on shampoo commercials?
Why bury my beauty in knots and naps? Why did mine need smoke, oil, and hustle to survive? Why did my beauty have to fight? Why did my hair need so much payment? Why couldn't I just mold into belonging? You're a beautiful black queen, baby, my mama said, brushing scripture straight into my tender scalp. She tightened her grip like she was braiding up hope for my future. God made me, wonderfully made them stop and stare, made them handle me with righteous hands, as if the angels handed me over personally, like an offering. All right, and this last piece to wrap up our night, y'all. This is called Foils, My Crown is My Garden. So this is the poem that Christian was referencing earlier. Remember when India R.E. sung, don't need your silicone, I prefer my own, but God gave me it just fine. My kinks and coils don't need to be defined, not sleeked nor greased. My afro grows and flows up and outwardly, stretching the laws of science, defying gravity. I am magical. Yeah, and the world lives inside me. My hair reflects God's nature. It's like the texture of thick bark on trees. Just hydrate my strands with rain, castor oil, cocoa butter, and baby, I smell like a sweet honeybee. My 4C is lovely because it's phenomenally me, made beautiful. I was kissed by the king who nourished my roots in holy water down to the cuticle, the follicle. My crown is my garden. And each seed that I plant, the coil blossoms strong and abundantly beyond the white soil of embedded conditioning. We were taught to think that nappy meant dreadful, to feel ashamed of 4C hair that can't be contained with their bobby pins. And so our sister locks don't bend to Western beauty conformity. As I rebel like Angela and march for peace, my curls and coils be dancing in the wind, boldly and free. My magnificent hair was created to wander and to stare and orbit and stardust and black infinity for all to see that the standard is kinky, is coily. Don't need your silicone, I prefer my own, but God gave me it just fine. And so I sing a song like India R.E., because I am, will be, naturally me. Everyone has a book, Jess, Jane, we all have books, so please come up to us and buy them, please. Thank you. Have a good night, and please drive safely.